Hello, fellow modelers. Bruce here. We're going to continue discussing some scratch-built rolling stock that I've made. And what you see here are two HOn3 pieces of rolling stock that I've made for my slate-run logging railroad. And one of them is a woodside gondola. And the other one is a bulkhead flat car. Both started out as being built on top of 28-foot long flat cars, and then building up from there. So the build is typical. I start out with framing out the underframe, and then putting a modicum of brake line equipment underneath. So both of them have that, and then putting on the decking for the flat car, and then adding the superstructure, if you will. So let's start with the gondola. The gondola I did enter into the National Model Contest at the NMRA convention in mid-July of this year, July of 25, here in Michigan. And we've already looked at three pieces of rolling stock that I had entered, so this is the fourth piece. And I guess, besides starting out as a flat car, I added the stakes, and those are very, very narrow, I think you can see. And on each one, by each board on the side of the gondola, I have a nut bolt washer casting. And if there was anything on this build that made it different than all the rest, was the fact that altogether there are over 80 nut bolt washer castings that I installed on this. And if any of you have installed nut bolt washer castings, you know there's basically two ways to do it. They come on their sprue with a tail coming off the back that would look like the bolt that was going through the nut bolt washer casting, and you can, in certain applications, drill a hole in your model and insert that tail, and that's how you line up your nut bolt washer castings. However, these wood slats are so narrow that drilling holes in them was just not at all practical. So every one of those I had to cut off flush, get rid of the sprue, and then you had the tiniest little nut bolt washer casting that you had to pick up with a set of tweezers and put a little dab of super glue on the back and then install them. And if any of you have done that, you know that it's guaranteed that some of those castings are going to flip off of the tweezers and go someplace in your modeling room, never to be found again. And when you're putting 80 on, the number that flip off is quite large. So anyway, yeah, the nut bolt washer castings were the difficulty here. So you can see a heck of a lot of them. Not only on the side stakes, but the end stakes too. And then the usual things that I've added, homemade stirrup steps, homemade cutler lift bars, homemade load of split wood. And again, I used, I'm glad I cut some extras on this, but this is the mountain laurel wood from back in New Jersey, which has very nicely scaled bark on it, but also a dark pulp center, like you can see on this piece right here. So it's just dandy wood. So that's basically the gondola. That was entered in the subcategory of revenue cars, and this one for sure has the highest score that I've ever received on a judged model. Let's see if I can get this up here where you can see it. 121 points, with 125 being the highest that you can get. The load is removable. I did the old trick of putting a washer or a nut on the bottom that's iron so that a magnet will attract it, and then you just insert it and you can put a magnet on and lift it out. And other than that, pretty much the documentation shows there's the frame for the undercarriage, and the brake rigging is already in place. And then I always check the coupler height, which you can see, if I can get this into there's the coupler height being checked. Here's the decking on, and here's me building the side. So, yep, very typical. And as I've said to you before, it all starts with building a flat car. So if you master that, you got it licked. Now for the other car here, which I did not enter. And I did not enter it for a couple of reasons, one of which is it's really not complete yet. You can see there are no stirrup steps on it, for instance. There's no coupler lift bars. And there's a few other things missing. I don't have any grab irons on it or anything. But still, in and of itself, it's a nice example of a car that you might see riding the rails in a logging situation. And in this case, it would be a load of hardwoods going to a wood chemical factory. And again, I have created the load using branches from the mountain laurel. And, again, a fairly good number of nut bolt washer castings on the bulkhead ends, and undercarriage detailing, truss rods and brake wheels and brake equipment and so forth. So, and just another fairly nice piece of rolling stock, and the pair of them will look great riding the rails on my slate run after I finish and getting some track down. So you will see these again in action at some point. So there, that's a quick review of these two pieces. I have two more that I will show you in the next video, and both of those I did have entered in the contest. Alrighty, as always, if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you've not already done so, please subscribe to my channel. Talk to you again soon.